it's not the money we make, you are the wealth. And I ain't saying we ain't got to struggle right here in Britain, but we're taught position perfectly. It's disturbing me, the verbal murder be absurd to me, occurred to me. If you have not heard of me, it's probably because I don't rap about Gucci and booty quite enough for the urban scene to fully salute me. But I don't really care, I'm too busy writing my master thesis. It's hard to play the stereotype when you study Egypt. Plus urban scene, we're racist to ourselves. In elevating words of hate, we're merely hating ourselves. And if you are musically broad or dare to speak intelligent, people look at you like, who the hell you think you better than? Better than no one on this earth, and I know I'm not. But I refuse to play small just to fit in that box. Yes. And I don't hate none of these other rappers, in fact it's quite the other. Look at me as your bigger, wiser, older brother. And as a brother inconvenient for those at the top that you talk too much truth, you might just get popped at. And if women are such hoes that we don't want to kiss them, what does it say about us that we still want to put our dick in? I'm done with the lies, third eye open wide. See, the tougher that you act, the weaker you really feel inside. So all the killer, the trigger, and when we call ourselves and want platinum chains bigger than jiggers, it's just to run from the fact that we feel insecure, get as many things as we want, but it cannot restore the core of who we are truly. That'll surpass beauty, that comes from knowledge of yourself and a sense of duty. So all my brothers still claiming that we are thugs. No, if we're honest, we just want to be loved. But we feel that we're not worthy and that we're not smart. So we act aggressive to protect our fragile little hearts. But we gotta deal with this pain, or it will consume. That's enough honesty, now let's resume. Let's turn this off, go back to rappers that tell us kill. But inside of ourselves, we know that this is real. Akala, this was from SBTV. Double Think's out now, check the CD. If you want a little knowledge bigger than college, I promise you the metaphorics that will offer you solace. Like the Great Pyramid alone has 2.3 million stones. If you took them apart and placed them in a row, they would stretch 2/3 of the way around the earth. That is more stone than there is in every single British church. Each stone cut to a degree of accuracy of 1/1000th of an inch. But what does that mean? In 1978, the Japanese ran an experiment to rebuild them with modern technology and failed terribly. But anyway, that's enough for today. I'm going to move out of the way of the screen so you lot guys can see what we put up. Don't go on to the first slide just yet. Just out of curiosity, when I say, and be honest, we're not looking for right or wrong answers, we're not looking to prove anybody wrong or right, we're just looking for what we think of, what we're taught to associate with certain things at this point. So I need a couple of volunteers, people that are brave enough to put up their hand and make some suggestions.
Does that make sense? No. The only reason we fight one another is because we live in a system that dominates us and we don't have the strength to fight that system. So that sense of helplessness means, well, you know what, I can't do nothing to them man over there because they're dominating me. So what will I do? I'll internalize that hatred and I'll fight you because you're just like me. But it's not just that you're just like me, it's that I associate blackness with powerlessness. So therefore I can take my frustrations out on blackness, on other black men, and there are no consequences, really, in the bigger scheme of things. So wherever you see that phenomenon of this pointless, you know, I'm from this end, you're from that end, it's a result of people feeling weak inside and internalizing that weakness. I don't feel that no more, so I don't feel any need to convince you that I'll defend my family if you force me to. So I'm mad. But I don't feel no need to tell you on every single song, you know, if you try it, I'm going to defend myself. So, why is that important? Yeah. Furthermore, why not defend yourself when the system tries it with you? Why not defend yourself when your youths go to jail for longer than anyone else, even if they commit the same offence? Which is a fact. We get 30-40% more time in jail for the same offence. Why not defend ourselves against that? Why not defend ourselves against our children being taught that their history begins with slavery? You know what I mean?
But I don't even think you should have just started as slavery. Like, you need to like
go
far back from that. When you do your lecture.
But what we learn in school is that. So we're so busy bending up our face at each other that we're not saying, you know what, why don't we fight this? And the thing is, we can sit down and complain all day long. I'm not saying that the reality of oppression and racism and classism isn't disgusting, because it is. But whether we like it or not, we're fortunate enough, for whatever reason, to live in a country where we can go to the library. There's free libraries all over the country where we can afford books. My brethren's from Brazil. We had him over recently. Brazilian hip-hop wise. In Brazil, books are £40-50, bro. And the average wage is £200 a month. If you're poor in Brazil, you ain't reading. It's just that simple. And if we change what we think is cool away from buying products that belong to people that openly said they hate us. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these so-called high fashion brands, openly said they don't want black people in our clothes. So why are we begging it? They're wearing their clothes for? To me, that's madness. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not running nothing. I used to buy all that stuff, and then I think, why am I buying? They don't like me. You know what I mean? Why would I do that much? And that's what has happened. I got a library. I literally own a library. That's all that's happened. I'm not one of these rappers that needs to say, you know what, I got money every 2 songs. But the fact is, I own my own company.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys that are telling you they've got money, probably don't even, I don't even want to be horrible, they probably don't even have as much money as me. I just don't want to make songs about how much money I have.
Exactly.
The fact is, I do own a library with about 3,000 books in it. You know what I mean? So it's like, the difference is I just don't spend my money on PR and jewelry.
So what's the advice that you give to young people? Like, because obviously when I've written a book and I documented work that you've done, you know, your background is talking about, you know, how, you know, you probably had you've gone through education and stuff, and you probably passed in certain things, you know, at school. So what advice would you give to young people that you
I passed everything in school, but it was what I had to go through for it. It was the way I was treated by teachers. It was getting put in special needs class with kids who couldn't speak English. And this ain't in like some place where there's no black people. You know what I mean? I grew up in a very, very mixed area, probably the most mixed place in the world, in a like Archway, Camden sort of area in North London. But it was interesting, my experiences in school as a kid who was always top of the class, because a lot of teachers just couldn't get their head around the fact that I was smarter than little Timmy from Highgate. I mean, it really upset them. It's like, why? No, it's the truth, I'm not being horrible, but it really upset people. It's like, what right have you got? You know what I mean? Like, you're from a single parent family, you're on free school dinners, and you're black.
Say just like that.
You know what I mean? No, what right do you have at 7 years old talking to me about Australopithecus, which is what I used to do. That used to be my little party trick. And it upset people. And constantly through school I got a bit of that. But then I ended up getting straight A's in all my GCSEs, even though all my brethren dropped out. And most of those friends now gone on to be in jail or whatever. But really, to me, education, the word educate actually means to draw out what is within it. That's actually the root meaning of the word education. So to me, no one else can't educate you. They can only help you bring out what you naturally already have. Right. And so we need to go one extra where it's like, when youths are talking about this is hard, that's hard, blah blah blah, that's sick. It needs to be talking about our knowledge, our culture, our history. Like what I was saying like that, I really mean that. We need to start saying when a youth acts like he's not good at maths, we need to start saying stop acting like you're not black. You're not black. When a youth can't do algebra, you're not black. Because the reality, the actual facts is, for the longest periods of black people's recorded history on this planet, they've been pursuing mathematics, philosophy, art, science, etc. I mean, like I said, if you look at one generation out from the slave trade, a major proportion of America's scientists, inventors, doctors were African Americans. And these are people who were 1 generation ago were enslaved. And so we need to start changing what we think of as fashionable. Because at the moment what we're taught to think is fashionable is based on what will serve the people that own the mediums that teach us what's fashionable. So if we think European fashion is fashionable, if we think European guns are fashionable, if we think European prisons are fashionable, who gets rich off all this? And so it's about what do we think is fashionable. If our youth start saying, nah, you know what, Sheikh Anta Diop's the man. Like they know these words, they know these names like they know Jay-Z and Nas, you know what I mean? Everything's changed, it's over. Like all of this, we can do everything to change it, everything. We just have to turn off the television and start reading books. And imagine if every youth went home, right, today, not just even black youth, every working class youth in Britain went home today and said, I'm going to read a book. There's only about 5 books you need to read that will change your whole outlook on the world. Am I lying?
Yeah, it's true.
Literally, there's about 2 books. If you read, for example, a book like The Awakening of Intelligence by J. Krishnamurti, if you read a book like They Came Before Columbus by Abby Van Sertima, if you read a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill or The Law of Success in 16 Lessons, if you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, if you read these books, it will change who you are forever. Secret Life of Plants. You know what I mean? So you spend 3 months of your time and your whole outlook's just different. If the whole world did that, all of this going to jail, all of this fighting is over. And it's that simple. It's just about education. Education changes everything.
Do you know, but like when you said you've gone over to America, right?
Yeah.
What's their perception of you over there? Being so educated over here, and obviously the knowledge that you're giving to young people over here. What's their perception, especially when you come through?
It depends where you mean. So in America, obviously you got a lot of the ignorant mentality in the hood, because that's what the hood was designed to have. But then you've got a long history of African Americans, again, fighting to be educated. We don't realise how hard our people fought, literally fought to be educated. So when we act like education ain't for us, we're just not being black. Literally, when slavery finished, the first thing our people were fighting for was an education. Man was like, I'm ready to go to war for this education. And because they understood what an education and how valuable it was. And so in America, you've got a lot of that movement that still exists, not just in the hood, but in middle class African American communities. And so there's an appreciation and an understanding. And a like, oh, wow, I didn't know that was going on in England. Kind of vibe sometimes. And I think people of any community or any ethnicity kind of, there's a certain degree of truth that when people hear it, they're like, you know what, I can't even front, that's real. Like if black rappers were saying or talking about killing white people, or better example, this is the example I always like to give everyone. My mother's white, right? So technically, biologically, I'm as white as I am black, right? If I was rapping about killing white people, right? Even black people say I'm crazy, right? But if I rap about killing black people, it's cool, right?
Yeah, for real.
Right? And we don't see how ridiculous that is. We're literally saying they are superior to us. That's what we're saying. It's okay to kill black people. It's not okay to kill white people. And if I start rapping tomorrow about killing white people, every youth in the hood would say, Carla's lost his mind, he's gone crazy. He's rapping about killing white people. That's how subservient we've become. Right? But killing N-word that's brilliant. It's cool. In fact, you know what? He's the man. Right? It's ridiculous. But we've come to believe that it's okay. Which obviously has its roots in abuse. But we need to deal with that. And just when we hear you saying it, say, shut up. You're being fake. Because that ain't even how you feel. The truth is, if someone pops your mum in the head right now, what are you going to do? You're going to cry. So it's not even no point. What you're saying is fake. You're not that cold. I understand why we're acting that way, but we're not. We are not that cold. It's all one big act. And the worst bit is the act ain't even for us. Who's buying the records? Little middle class children who want to fantasize about the zoo that is the hood. Right? That's who's buying the records. 50 Cent sold what, 12, 13 million records? Who bought those records? Yeah, a few of us bought it. But like Jadakiss said, once you pass 700,000, that's all kids in the suburbs. So you got 12 grand. It's the truth. Jadakiss said it. Like, once you pass 700,000, it's all kids in the suburbs. So who are we even doing it for? You know what I mean? So to me, it's just like, we got to start saying, it's just fake. Who are we serve? And if we change the ideology, everyone will follow. Because everything we've ever defined as being cool throughout the 20th century, people have followed. Jazz, blues, gospel, funk, soul, hip hop, drum and bass. You know? I'm not making it up, you know what I mean? Who created all those trends? Yes, absolutely. Loads of other communities had massive influences on us. We can't dispute that, but we can't dispute that the core of jazz music was African Americans, the core of reggae was Africans in Jamaica. You know what I mean? The core of jungle was Africans in England. That's not to diss no one, it's to say that our culture's become so powerful that it's come to define a generation. It's come to define generations time and time again. And are we going to keep allowing those cultures to continue? Think about how rich your community would be if it just owned its own music. Forget everything else, forget all the other resources. If African people own jazz music, blues music, gospel, hip-hop, hip-hop's a $15 billion a year industry.
Funny that you're saying that though, because not be like Suge Knight and Jay Prince and them, you realise they were trying to form like a distribution.
They tried independent, yeah.
They tried to go independent and you know, obviously, deeper than the industry, they start to get taken out and start seeing what's all wrong with them now.
Well, that was a very complex movement, complex time, coming from a complex place. But essentially, yeah, they were trying to own their own culture. And even a lot of the big African American music moguls, big up to them, but they don't own hip hop. Let's be very clear. They are partners with people that own hip hop. And that's cool, I'm not even knocking that. Listen, man, if I could get a partnership of that level to make the music I still want to make, and I could own my own music, I'd do it. But it'll be on my terms. I will never do it and start shaking my backside. Not gonna happen, ever, for any amount of money. But never, listen, if I'll state this on record anywhere I go. If you ever see me do a video shaking my backside, oiling up my chest, slapping women on the behind, everyone who sees me has got the permission to slap me. The moment you see me, just box me, bang! They're calling you're fake. You're so fake. It's just, unless I've literally lost my mind, it's just, I don't care. The money's not that important to me, you know what I mean? It's just not in it.
Word up, man. Word up. Nah, proper thing, man. I respect you anyway for the work that you did, man. You know what I mean? Definitely all the work that you've done. You know what I mean? It's a man like that, yeah, that you need to respect.